And we're live. Hey Kyle. Well, hey everybody. This disc is great with Steve and Nate, episode 11. We made it to double digits a couple weeks now, so we're still going strong. We still got a lot of discs to review. Steve, what are we talking about this week?
The new Latitude stuff, the overmold technology, super cool disc.
Yeah, so we've got Latitude 64, the Bryce, the Gobi, and the Sarek. We'll get into those a bit. We did a thing yesterday where in our video where we, this is the last set of stuff that we've got good video for, so we're going to go out and reshoot some more video today. So we've got a bunch of options for the next 4 or 5 episodes of This Is Great with Steve and Nate that we're going to shoot today, and we want your input on what we want to do first, what we want to do first out of that. We got some votes for the, I think right now the Fortress and the full turn stuff is leading. But Steve, let's take a look at everything we got.
All right. I'd like to start with my personal favorite, these Prodigy X Series discs. We got the X2, a big high-speed driver, like 13, 14 speed. The X4 is another option.
And so we'll do these together, and they're their new X Series discs. I've heard anywhere from 12 to 14, the claims on the speed. The X2, Prodigy's naming system like we talked about, lower numbers are more overstable. So the X2, it's got a little bit of turn, but a lot of beef at the end. And then the X4 has got a little bit more flip to it and not as much fade, but it does have some good fade. So those are an option. What's our other options?
The new West Side Disc Fortress, we have it in the tournament and VIP plastic. So these are an overstable kind of fairway-ish driver.
Yeah.
It's like 10 speed, so it's maybe just a little more than a fairway driver, but it's going to have a nice stable flight to it.
And I'm liking these. These are some of my favorite discs that have come out. I just filled this spot in my bag with our next option. Let's go ahead and skip to the full turn stuff.
Okay.
The Full Turn is a new disc golf company out of Branson, Missouri, that one of my buddies runs. I really like their plastic. It's molded by Perdiscus. This is the Full Turn Traveler. It's kind of close to a glidey Thunderbird is what it's kind of described as. Flies really similarly to the Fortress. So we might actually do those two together. I don't know. So we have a lot of Full Turn discs to do.
Yeah.
But this, I was kind of sad when we got these. I'm like, I just filled that slot in my bag with this Traveler, which I like it a lot. And the Drifter is their other driver. It's a flippier version of that. And then we've got their putter and their mid-range as well. So they're a new company that's going to be on the website really soon whenever we get a chance to get there. It's great plastic, molded by Perdiscus in Europe. So that's one of your options. And what is our last option, Steve?
MVP, got some new stuff. We've got the Teleport and the Mayhem. These discs are really big rim drivers, and they crush.
And kind of what we saw is like the Teleport is pretty X2-ish, and the Mayhem is pretty X4-ish. Mayhem's a little slippier. Both are still pretty stable at the end, but they both, like Steve said, they crush. So we're gonna give, if you guys vote throughout the show, we're gonna give somebody's gonna win one of these 3 discs. Let's make it the Bryce. We'll give the Bryce away to somebody who votes for what we should do next. So Steve, real quickly, what are our options again?
We've got MVP Mayhem. We got MVP drivers, high-speed drivers. We got Prodigy high-speed drivers. Then we have a new company, Full Turn Discs, where they've got some fairways, some putters, and then we've got the new West Side fairway driver. So whoever picks it, you're going to get a disc. Go ahead and message us on this. Leave a comment, and we'll take care of you.
So before we get into our review, Steve, we've got one other thing we need to talk about, and it has to do with Prodigy's involved in it too. What is the big news that we launched yesterday?
Our disc render?
Yeah.
Yeah. We just started new subscription for getting more discs into the hands of players, either ultimate players or disc golf players. But for right now, starting in July, you're going to get a box a month if you join the subscription, and you're going to get at least a disc and a bunch of other great stuff. The first deal right now, you get a disc, you get a sticker, you get disc clip or something similar for. You got disc golf, you got ultimate. So if you got to pick one, you pick one.
Or like Trevor Luna said, he wants to do both, and we're all doing both.
Yeah.
That works for us.
So this for the first month, if you join before June 30th, you can get $5 off for the rest of your time being subscribed. And the first box is going to include $25 gift card to the store. So basically, we're just here to help you guys try out new plastic, get some cool new stuff, and we love it. We think it's a great idea. We just want to grow the sport. It's going to be awesome.
So for the ultimate players, you're going to get one of our new release custom stamps every other month. And then the months where you don't get a disc, you're going to get a really nice accessory item like a premium hat, gloves, a really nice long sleeve jersey, something like that. On dismember.com, if you click one of the packages, it'll give you an idea of what you're getting each month. And then Disc Golf is getting a disc every month, and we're going to do our best to make it be a new release disc. We can't guarantee that yet because I'm still working some of that stuff out. But for the first month, we are getting the Prodigy X5, which releases either the week before or the week after. We're going to ship it out. So it's going to be a brand newly released disc. Obviously, it'll be a little flippier than the X4 that we're going to do in a couple of weeks. So check that out. Prodigy has jumped on board, giving us a great deal on discs so that we can get them to you at that price. Again, $20 a month will get you a mystery box of. You'll kind of know what's in it, but you won't know stamps or exactly all that jazz. So $20 a month gets you a box of Disc Golf or Ultimate stuff showing up at your door in the first week of every month. If you sign up in June. If you sign up in July, it's $25 a month. So get in at $20 a month for June. The first shipments go out in July. We think it's a great deal. Get on. We're excited about it. I think we had like 250 people last time I checked already.
So far, we got a really nice number.
So yeah, we want to see 1,000 by the 1st of July is our goal. We want to see 1,000. Again, so if you're watching, you have a chance to win the 3 discs we threw in the review: the Bryce, the Sarek, and the Gobi. Like, comment, ask us questions. The Bryce, we've already decided, is going to somebody who's voting for what we should do next. Either the MVP drivers, the Prodigy drivers, the Full Turn Series, or the Fortress. So vote for that, and you might win a Bryce. Kyle, you can't vote for all of them. That's cheating. Pick one. Let's see if we got any other questions before we get too far. All right, Brian McGuire says, hey. Kimberly Gignac. We're just going to move on from that name. Dan Masters wants Steve to put the trace down. I don't know if Steve was ever holding a trace, so good job, Steve. You already put it down. All right. Shane Russell, we're actually going to look at a roller in a minute, so just wait. Eldon, you definitely do wish you could be at this store. It's pretty great. Josh wants to know if he gets the subscription, is he locked in for a year?
No, absolutely not. This is basically it's a month-by-month thing. You can buy in 1 month, maybe next month a bill comes up, and you just go back to the website, say, hey, I need to cancel, or send us an email, say, hey, I need to cancel, and you're done. There's no hidden fees. There's just this is basically as simple as it gets, guys.
It does auto-renew for you every month, but you can go in at any time and shut it off.
Yeah.
So if you don't do anything, it'll keep showing up, but if you need to stop for any reason, you can either go on the website and do that, or send Steve an email, and we can figure it out. All right, so let's get into the discs. We have the Bryce, the Gobi, and the Sarek, which is Latitude 64's new overmold stuff. Now, Steve, what's different about Latitude's overmold compared to MVP's overmold?
I would say the biggest thing that I'm seeing is just how smooth the transition is from one to the next.
Is MVP's not smooth?
Well, I don't throw any MVP. I do throw this stuff now, but it seems like it takes up a little more space too. Just the amount of the rim that's being the overmold technology. When I feel MVP just seems to take up only like half of it only goes like half of the rim. Fair. This one, they use a bit more of it.
But what? You still didn't tell me what's different. What's the big difference?
I don't know.
What's MVP's overmold made out of?
Oh, there's this rubber. Okay, there's this rubber, and Latitude's taken their gold line plastic and wrapped it around their opto plastic.
Now, what's the advantage? What is the advantage of having the gold line on the outside versus the opto?
I know the opto wouldn't hold up to the kind of hits and dings that you get from hitting trees, maybe throwing it down as a roller. Just the strength factor is why they chose the opto side.
Yeah, the opto looks cool on the inside, which is also nice.
I agree.
And the gold is a little bit more durable. I don't know stability-wise if it would make a difference. Obviously, we haven't thrown anything with opto on as an overmold yet, because this is brand new. So I don't know if that's different, but it's just Tomas, Latitude 64's disc designer, just likes to try lots of crazy things. So we tried this out and he liked it, so we're bringing it. He's brought it to the market. We're going to see how they fly. We're going to start with the Bryce, and again, it's gold line plastic, opto on the inside, which is why it's Opto G plastic. They didn't get too tricky with their name. Steve, why don't you tell us what they say about the Bryce?
Sure. The Bryce by Latitude 64. This is an understable fairway driver with great glide and speed compared to other discs in this category. Works great as an all-around driver and will help you save shots on a daily basis. Pretty straightforward.
Shane, the overmold is not bolted on like the XT Novas or the Atlas. Innova, their overmold has these nubs on the inside that I hate, which is why I don't throw an Atlas or a Nova. This does not have that. It's really smooth transition. I don't even notice it on the Gobi and the Sarek. There's a little more on the Bryce. So hit us with that Bryce description again. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the comments.
So we got an understable fairway driver with great glide and speed compared to other discs in this category. It works great as an all-around driver and help you save shots on a daily basis.
Okay, and what are the numbers that Latitude gives it?
That would be 9, 5, -1, 2.
9, 6.
Oh, it's 6? So
6
it's
glide.
extra glide.
-1, 2. And we'll let you know how we feel about those numbers in a minute. So these discs have kind of weird names. Do you have any idea what Bryce is?
Bryce is actually a word in their native language. So
Swedish
language. So they.
I looked
I'm
it
sure
up.
they're already saying it that way.
I did some Google searches, as well as being a weird way to spell an actual name. I did a Google search, and it's loosely like a nobleman's son. So like not quite prince, but like some sort of nobility's son is what Bryce means in Swedish. So maybe they picked it for that. Maybe Tomas's middle name is Bryce. I don't know. But let's go ahead and see how the Bryce threw. Let's pull in closer and get some video.
Don't forget, we got this sweet deal with UDisc where they gave us their pro edition of their app, and now we get to figure out how far we've thrown for each individual disc. We can create scorecards, we can share that scorecard, we can look up where courses are, and it uses GPS, so as long as you've got GPS enabled, this thing is awesome. Definitely pick it up. It's like $5
For a year.
For a year. Just pick it up. You will not regret it.
100% worth it.
You will not regret it.
Trash talking everybody when you can share your scorecards and prove stuff is a lot of fun. All right, let's take a look at the Bryce and see how it flew for us. Oop, I am not on the right screen. Aha, there I am. All right, I think we got Steve up first.
Yay. Nope, not me.
You know what? We're in the right spot. All right, this was my first throw. You're right. All right, so when we first throw, the first throws that we do, I'm always looking to do a little bit of a power hyzer, just a big hyzer out and see what happens. So as you can see there on my release angle, it's pretty hyzer, and this is a full speed rip. It goes, flips up, turns over, burns into the ground. So this is pretty flippy. When I see 9, 6, -1, 2, I'm expecting something to flip up the flat, go straight for a while, and fade out. It's not what I got. I did not get that kind of a flight. And generally, you'll hear me say this a lot, when you compare Latitude's numbers to Innova's numbers, Latitude is generally more understable than the numbers would suggest. It's not bad, it's not a criticism, but just an expectation to know. So I expected it to be a little more understable than a -1, 2, but I didn't expect it to be quite this flippy. Let's look at Steve's first shot and see how it flew for him. This is a standstill shot, still a pretty power hyzer. So Steve got it to fade out, but look at that release angle.
That flipped up really quickly too, and I was surprised it fought back, but it was a standstill shot, so I wasn't terribly surprised.
And he threw it real high, so the higher you throw it, you're using more energy to go high, so
Yeah.
it stalled out a little bit. But
293 standstill, I was super pumped about that.
yeah, it's a pretty easy
It
to throw a
glides so
driver. Yeah,
much.
it's got a lot of glide. But after seeing both of those shots, I threw it a lot more hyzer, and this is like 50%. Not very hard at all. Barely throwing it out there. I still got, this is the only throw back, oh, let's back that up a little bit. That's the only throw backhand that I got to go straight. So I threw it like 50% on a pretty good hyzer. It flipped up the flat, turned a little bit, and faded out. So it's a solid beginner disc. I think I would say it is. It's got a lot of flip to it. Steve, what would you put the numbers at as turn and fade?
Because of some of the fade that I was getting, I would keep the 2, but I would put a -2.
I'd say it's closer to like a Roadrunner at like -4, 2. It's got a lot of flip, which again, it's not bad. It's just I was shocked when I threw it the first time. I actually threw it. I was throwing the other direction when I threw it without Steve, just trying him out, and I threw it into the road, which is like at a 45-degree angle because I did not expect it to flip that much. But it's got a lot of flip. But Shane Russell, you asked about rollers earlier. With that much flip, it isn't easy just to throw a roller with. I like that little dance move Steve put on it.
Just right past me. That was a straight line too. That was wicked.
Yeah, so I like to throw my distance rollers with, the Sweet 23 isn't a great distance roller. My rollers aren't great. But I like to throw rollers backhand with an understable disc, released it pretty hyzer, pretty anhyzer, flips the rest of the way over and hits on an edge. Rolled really straight right past Steve and just curled at the edge, which is unstable as it is. It's going to get that curl. That's how you control distance on a roller. I'm still figuring that part out, but that is one of the ways you do it. So it rolls well. It's easy to throw on a roller. Yeah, I definitely think it's more understable than Latitude says it is. At least this particular one we threw. We didn't take 5 of them out and test it, so maybe we got a weird one.
What's the weight on that, Nate?
174.
So we try and get as close to 175 just to keep it consistent. But 1 gram isn't going to be a world of a difference, so we were okay with that. I'd say 170. We almost be pushing it.
Yeah.
But we try our best to get at least 172 to 175.
Yeah, just so we're staying consistent. We're throwing, we're not trying to compare, a 160 something to a 175 something else and getting weird results. Yeah, I mean, Steve, who do you think this disc works well for?
I could see someone who they're throwing a T-Bird or they're throwing a TL and they're just like, I'm just not getting as much distance as I'd like. I'm like, all right, this isn't terrible, much more fast, but it's going to have this flip that's going to get you distance. So I would say if you need something just a little less overstable, but it's not out of your speed range, this could work. And then for someone who's ready for a roller, or they're ready for a big hyzer flip or a big panning out anhyzer, this is going to be a really good disc for that.
Yeah, so I think it slots right in. I'll go ahead and show you guys the profile because I didn't do that earlier. I think it slots right in next to like a Sidewinder or a Roadrunner as a disc that I'd recommend to beginners and new players with lower arm speeds. So you can see where that transition happens, but it's not too bad. Tim Reynolds, that's a good question, and you're going to win the Gobi for that question. Steve, Tim Reynolds wants us to define hyzer and anhyzer.
Okay. So this is Nathan's throw as a right-handed player. As when I say we're talking about hyzer versus anhyzer, I imagine the ground or some spot being flat. So versus this angle from flat, he is above half. This is an anhyzer shot where I'm not sure why they use the term hyzer, but this is the term.
It's a German word, and I don't know exactly what it means, but...
So, anhyzer is above half, and hyzer is below half, below flat, parallel to the ground. And so, the anhyzer, if you throw a flippy disc anhyzer, it's most likely going to continue to hang on to that angle and crash down. But if you take the same angle on a Star Destroyer or
the criminal
that we just did, where we're throwing it above half and it's still turning back and landing, fighting against the turn.
It's basically how you're manipulating shots. Discs naturally, when thrown flat. Ooh, we still working here? Yeah, we still look good over there. So discs naturally want to hyzer. They want to curl left. So they want to fade left. So putting some anhyzer on flippy disc keeps them from turning. Like they want to turn over when they're going fast. So putting some hyzer on it keeps them from doing that. Anhyzer can get some more overstable discs, some more distance before they finish left. Hope that helps. If that doesn't make sense, I'll try to answer again later. Again, you're going to win this Tim Reynolds. You win the second disc that we're giving away, which is the Opto-G Gobi. Remember, keep voting on what you want us to see do next to win the Bryce, and we'll give that away in just a few minutes. But Steve, let's go ahead and talk about the Gobi.
All right. Latitude 64 says the Gobi is a slightly understable mid-range for those long sweeping anhyzers. Towards the end of the flight, it'll fight back to a fade in a reliable way. Great for players that throw moderately far and want a controllable disc, but also for bigger arms looking for controlled hyzer flips.
All right, let's take a look at that, at the profile here, and the numbers on the Gobi are 5, speed 5, glide 5, -1 turn, +1 fade. Oh, -1.5 turn, +1 fade. So it's a little flippy, and it's got a little bit of fade at the end, but not a lot. And again, this one is super smooth on the overmold. It's hard to tell it's there at all. The first time I threw one of these, I was super impressed. I think I threw it farther than I threw the Bryce.
Yep, you sure did, dude.
I like this thing a lot. It bombs, it glides, it's really controllable. Let's take a look and see how it flew for us.
Look at how long that thing is gliding, dude. That was probably 175 when it peaked, and then it just kept going. It seriously.
And that's a lot straighter flight than it looks in the video. It's hard to show that without getting a drone over the top.
But just it flipped up nicely and then just kept going straight. I was like, dude, what is this thing? It's sweet.
Yeah, and 291 on a mid-range pull is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like it's got some nice easy glide, especially on a big sweeping hyzer like that. It's super controllable. Like he threw that on a hyzer, And Steve's left-handed. For if that's confusing you from what we just talked about, Steve throws with his left hand. So all the words that we talked about for me, you got to flip them for Steve. So he's letting that out of his hand on a hyzer. It flipped up to flat, glided, and slowly filleted out, just like the description said it would. Yeah, that's what it does. So let's see another bigger hyzer shot from Steve here. So it's not flippy enough that even when you throw it on that hyzer and pretty hard that it's going to turn over and burn on you like the Bryce can do. Because that's about the same hyzer I threw on the Bryce that I turned all the way over.
Yeah.
But yeah, it holds whatever line you put it on, wouldn't you say?
I agree. It's almost like you pick the angle you want it to like land on way down the fairway. It's basically how it'll move out and it'll come right back down to where it was. Real easy disc, and it feels great. Like it's
effortless.
It really is. This disc as well as the Bryce have just so much glide. I'm just baffled, and it's so fun where you're just like, dude, that was a terrible throw, and you're like, yeah, but it was 260, and I'm like, no way, dude, that's a crush for a bad toss. I felt like.
So Shane Russell also wants to know, with the overmold, are they putting more of the weight in the rim, or is it evenly spread out?
So the reason they're putting this overmold is because if you can keep the weight.
See, I don't think the Latitude's doing that. That's how MVP works. The rubber is denser, so it gets more of the weight in the rim. They call it the gyro, and it gets a little bit more spin that way. It feels pretty consistent all the way through. I don't think it's changing the weight dispersion at all.
We should open it up and find out.
I think we could just ask Latitude. I don't think that it's got any more weight in the rim than it does a normal disc, honestly. Because, yeah, that's kind of MVP's thing. So I think it's just
protection.
Yeah, it's just kind of an interesting new thing they're trying. So somebody asked, where'd it go? Brian McGuire wants to know how it compares to a Buzz.
So far, I almost feel like the Buzz is a little flippier. Like, I don't know, man. I think I'm trying to hyzer flip the Gobi, and then it just stays hyzer for me. I don't know if I'm throwing inconsistently, or I've never had the same flight every time I've thrown it, so I'm still working with it. But
I think it's close.
Yeah, it's gonna be close.
I think I don't like the rims on the Buzzes or the Rocks. That's a personal thing. They're great discs. They still fly well. This has a much cleaner release for me. It's pretty similar.
There's no bead, right?
It's like a micro bead. It's like a super, super, super thin micro bead on there. Hardly noticeable. It's not concave like Rocks or Buzzes. And yeah, I think it's got a little less turn, a little less fade. It's a little straighter in general. It's super controllable. Let's take a look at a couple more videos. This one I tried to turn it over, put it on a pretty good Anheuser, threw it a little high so it stalled out on me. But look at that glide.
I threw it a little high and I got 300 feet. That thing is nuts.
335 out of a mid. Like if I'm cranking on my truths, I can get them that far. But that's cranking on them.
Oh yeah.
And again, I just want to see if I can turn it over. I had another throw that we're not going to show you, but it flipped over and I almost hit Steve. But yeah, this one a little higher, so it stalled out a little more, but still some solid fade. So it's got enough turn to get you some nice distance and to control some lines.
Yep.
Like I think this disc is going to be great in the woods at Hummel, where like we're trying to weave through some stuff. You can put a little turn on it; it'll fade back out. And I like it a lot. Like I expected it, especially after throwing the Bryce. I expected to throw this next and have it be even flippier. But it's not. It's really straight, neutral flying disc that you can do a lot of things with. Ben Thompson wants to know if the overmolds are comfortable.
Oh yeah.
I don't even notice them, honestly.
No, they're so clean, so crisp together.
It's more of like they're just not transitioning where your fingers go anyway.
Exactly.
Like the Bryce, I'm holding it here anyway. I might notice that top one, but not a lot. the Gobi, I mean, it's not touching my fingers at all. So I don't even notice that they're there. There's no nubs like a Nova. Let's see, what other questions do we have before we go too terrible far? Oh, Gabe Franklin asked a great question. And in fact, Gabe, we're going to go ahead and give you the Opto-G Sarek. We'll get to it next. But Gabe wants to know what the positive and negative numbers mean when we read the numbers on a disc.
Sure.
Well, Steve, why don't we just hit all the numbers while we're here real quick?
Okay. So when we started off with the Gobi, first of all, you've got speed. Your first number is going to be speed. This is how fast the disc is recommended to be to achieve the rest of these numbers.
And also correlates directly to the width of the rim in general.
Yes.
There's some other like hex tech things and some gyro things that can change that, but generally it's width of the rim.
So your 5 speed, your 6 speed, sometimes your 7 speed are going to be your mid-range discs with that wide rim. It's not as blunt as a putter, and it's not as sharp as a driver. So your 5 is your speed. Then you go up to your glide, which is how much the disc wants to stay in the air. Like how the higher the glide, the longer it's going to stay in the air naturally. You get something of a glide 2 or a 3, and you're just going to see this thing just want to stop, just sit down on the ground.
Why would you want something with a glide of 2 or 3?
When it's really windy, you're going to be thanking yourself for having a disc in your bag that is going to fight that wind, or you're throwing from a cliff and you don't want it to go out of bounds really long.
Or if you just don't want to go very far. Like sometimes you need to not go very far, so you throw something that's going to drop out of the sky real quick.
Exactly. Next number is your turn, which is your high speed turn. Once the disc has been thrown at the speed it's carrying with that glide, you're going to see a high speed turn, which for a right-handed player, right-hand backhand player, you're going to see it go with the rotation of the disc, and then after it starts to slow down, you're going to see it start to fade, which is fighting the rotation of the disc.
So with the stability numbers turn and fade, 0, 0 is dead straight. It goes straight ahead. So negative numbers means for a right-hand backhanded player means it wants to pull right. And higher numbers is more that it wants to pull right. And then that's high speed turn. So you have to get it to that speed of 5 to get that turn at all, which is a mistake we see a lot of players making, grabbing bosses or destroyers or things like that. They're not getting to those 12 and 13 speeds to get the turn. And then the last number is low speed fade, which is how much it fights back left when it slows down. Which on a slower disc, if you rip it hard enough, you might never get that low speed fade because it's still going fast when it hits the ground. So that's what those numbers mean. I hope that was helpful. We can give you some more details in the comments later if we want. If you still need some more stuff there. All right, let's grab a couple more questions. Somebody asked what the weight of the Gobi was, and it's at 173, which is the heaviest one we had. And Tim asks, with the Gobi, if you throw it at 100%, will it start off with a left hook, just like any other disc, where if you have more power than necessary, it'll hook opposite direction of the fade? Yeah, if you really put power into this disc, it's got a little bit of drift right. It's got that negative 1.5 turn, but it's not dramatic. Like, I very rarely turned and burned it when I didn't want to. It was pretty controllable. Really, I think it's a lot like an original Truth or a beat-in EMAC Truth, honestly. Does that sound about right, Steve?
I'd agree, because I really like the amount of glide, and that's exactly why I throw the EMAC. It has so much glide, but it can handle the torque. I think the Gobi can handle some torque.
Yeah. Like when I was throwing it, not on video, I was throwing it just a little bit of hyzer, letting it pop up and go straight, and it just went straight forever. Didn't get any of those throws on video, unfortunately, which is sad. But let's take a look at a flick line before we go too far. I didn't flick the Bryce because I just didn't feel comfortable doing so. It's too flippy. But here you can see a little more of that that typical flight we're talking about with and 230 for me with a mid-range flick is just about all I'm getting out of any mid-range. If you haven't, a lot of the mid-ranges we haven't done flicks with because I'm terrible at flicking mid-ranges.
Same.
This actually got off my hand clean. I like it a lot. Just a slight bit of hyzer, but pretty flat. So you see it flipped up, turned a little bit, and then solidly faded out. Again, really reliable, really maneuverable. It's going to hold the lines you put it on and just glide. Gabe wants to know which of these we would recommend as a driver. Well, the Bryce is a driver, the Gobi is a mid-range, and the Sarek is a putter. And I'd recommend the Bryce for, again, beginning players as a driver. The Gobi is beginning to advanced players. You can do all sorts of things with it, and we'll talk about the Sarek in just a minute. Anything else? So Gabe asked, is it better for backhand or forehand? What would you say, Steve?
I think if you have the touch and you can forehand a mid-range, do it. But as Nathan and I are not touchy players with forehand flicks, we prefer the backhand. And
yeah, I feel a lot more natural with the backhand, and the forehand is going to be a placement shot, something I pull out if I need it. It's not like I am not good enough powering down my forehand yet, and you can't really throw it with a ton of power, and you get the touch that you need. So backhand is what I recommend, but it can forehand decently well. Let's see what else we got. Oh, Ben Thompson asked 2K line. It's just another way of naming the plastic. It's like Opto 2K line Opto G. I don't know if there will be eventually like Gold O or something like that if they flop it. But that's just the plastic type 2K for 2. I don't know if K is.
K must mean some sort of plastic.
If there's plastic in Swedish starts with a K or something like that. That's all that means. TJ, I think I have gray, blue, orange, and yellow in the Gobi, and most of those colors in the Sarek and the Bryce. We got some more on the way too. Kevin Richwalski hits on something we just kind of talked about. He wants to know why his forehand shots are more flippy than his backhand throws with a mid-range.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the same problem we tend to have. And Steve, why do you think that is?
I would say the number one thing for me is when I'm throwing forehand, I'm really focusing on the snap. When my backhand just is like a natural, clean snap, and then my forehand snap is just so exaggerated that I end up putting too much force onto the disc, and then I end up turning it over. Yeah. Or I think about it too much, and I straight up grip lock it and just smash it into the ground. So I'd say it's finding the right moment of the flick to get it out of your hand.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of what it comes down to too. Is a lot of people, for most people, you have more natural torque on your forehand. The backhand is a lot easier to let it fly out of your hand at the right moment, and it's easier to control for a lot of people. And so that's when you have that lower speed disc that can't handle the speed as much, that torque as easily. That's what tends to happen a lot, I think. All right. Let's go ahead and, Steve, let's get to the Sarek. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that one? This is the putter in the overmold line.
All right, the Latitude 64 says this about the Sarek. Whatever situation you find yourself in on the course, you can always fall back on the Sarek. It's a reliable, stable putt and approach disc that works very well as a short-range driver too. No matter if you're new to the game or a seasoned pro, you can find many ways to put this disc to use.
All right, so it's a putter. Do we ever actually putt with this, Steve?
I've done it.
You have one in your bag,
yeah,
so you've putted with it.
I've let it out of my hand towards a basket. I'm relatively unsuccessful with that. It's just a little bendy when you're trying to put force on it.
I could see that. Why don't you tell us the numbers on there?
Yeah, we've got a speed of 2, a glide of 4, a turn of 0, and a fade of 1.
1.5.
1.5.
Like that. We'll throw a little more.
It's not terrible. It's not terrible, but I like to use a decently sturdy putter. So when I'm pushing up on the disc with the putting motion, it tends to have a little give. But once you're throwing it, oh man, it's perfect.
So it's pretty deep, and it's got just a little bit of a micro bead. And again, I don't notice the overmold on it very much at all. Yeah, it's got a little micro bead at that transition. Pretty, like I said, pretty deep. Let's see how it flies.
So that's a decent hyzer, and it's still just going straight. So not having the turn, I'm saying you can say 0 turn, but if you throw it faster than the 2 speed, you're going to start seeing turn. And for that amount of hyzer to only flip over that much, I think it's crazy. Like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to like totally just turn over all the way like my PA3s do if I crank on it. But this
again,
held up.
especially considering that latitude we generally expect latitude to be more understable than the numbers suggest. I expect it to flip a little more. Steve popped on it. It did flip up really well. So I think it does have a little bit of turn as opposed to the 0.
Yeah.
But really, it's a lot like a slower Gobi, honestly. 264 on a putter pull when you throw it that high in the air isn't bad.
I like that. I did like that.
All right, let's take another look at the throw here. I think Steve again, a little flatter.
That was pretty cool to throw it flat, and this is really it didn't veer off as far as the image looks, but it held that nice flat to kind of Anheuser line and just sat down really nice.
Yeah, so it did turn over for him a little bit. For me, because it's a putter, throwing it hard, it's a little touchier than the Gobi because it's a little slower, so the more torque you put on it, it can't handle it as much as the mid-range. So it's got a little bit of flip to it. Let's see here. This is a standstill shot. Threw it pretty flat, carried straight, hyzered out. Somebody asked what this compares to. Steve, what disc do you use this kind of overlapping in your bag with the most?
I have my AVR 3, but it is well more overstable than this. And that's why I picked this disc up, because my AVR 3 just doesn't have as much glide. It fights just a little too hard for me when I'm trying to do a touchy shot. My AVR 3 is like, get in the circle. This is trying to put it in the basket kind of toss. Or
just a different line.
Yeah, it's definitely a different line. I think this is just a lot more straight of a disc. I was throwing my PA1s. They had the nice fade to it, but this is just like easier to hold for me.
Yeah.
It just feels really nice in my hand.
Like I said, we didn't putt with it a ton, but I feel like it's definitely a good driving putter. It's got some good glide. It's got some reliable fade. This is the flick shot, and I threw it way too hyzer and not hard enough to flip it up. So you can still see the consistent fade. I feel like if I got that flat, it could have gone pretty straight. But Steve likes it a lot. He carries it in his bag. He has a Gobi in his bag as well, and I'm looking at getting one. It overlaps a lot with my truth, so I don't know exactly where it'll fit in there.
You could just lose your truth, and then you need it.
Exactly.
Just like I did.
Yeah. Tim Reynolds asked an important question. He wants to know how often we do these videos.
Tim, this is a weekly thing. I know today is Friday. We got busy this week.
Memorial Day screwed with us a lot.
So we try and get these out Wednesday, and we try and get there right around 5. So you can see us, our big, bright, shiny faces at 5 o'clock on Wednesdays.
All right, so TJ Gazenberg wants to know what the Sarek compares to when you throw it hard. And I think we kind of talked about that, but I won't throw a lot of putters, honestly.
When I'm throwing this hard, I'm throwing it on a big, decent hyzer, and then expecting it to pop up and stay straight. The only discs that I've done that with are a Wizard, are my PA3s, a PA1. I don't think I've ever tried to throw a Judge or a Warden as a driving putter.
Judge is like a straighter Wizard when you throw it.
Okay. So, my ABR3, I'm basically throwing that flat. And it's still just straight hyzering out on me. This Sarek, I'm definitely throwing it on a hyzer. So I'd say it's kind of your stable to understable putter.
It's pretty maneuverable. You can turn it over if you need to. You can throw it on the hyzer if you need to. I think it fits really well closely to the ABR3, with the ABR3 having a touch more fade.
Yes.
Nice driving putter. All right. Again, make sure you check out discmember.com for our new subscription service. You're getting lots of cool ultimate or disc golf stuff at your door every month. We're putting about $50 worth of retail value into those boxes, and you're getting it for, if you sign up in June, you get it for $20 a month. Disc golf is going to get a very new release disc every month. First month is Prodigy X5, and I'm working closely with our other manufacturers to get a good rotation going with them for the following month, with Prodigy X5 coming out in that box. Also, we've got about 2 or 3 minutes left in this video. Make sure you're voting for what you want to see next. Steve, run us real quickly through what we've got for the next step. Oh, we're going to go film right now, so tell us what you want to see.
All right. We've got MVP. They've got some brand new high-speed drivers. We've got Prodigy. They've got some brand new high-speed drivers.
And all 4 of those bomb.
I'm looking to hit. I'm looking to hit 450, to be honest with you. Yeah. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try for you guys and for me. Then we've got a brand new company called Full Turn. They've got a really nice new disc, really sweet plastic, from Missouri too, Branson, Missouri. So if you're from Missouri, give us a shout out, give them a shout out, and we'll try and get that film done. We've also got some West Side discs. They've got this new high-speed fairway driver that's got some nice stability to it. Those might end up in the bag, to be honest. Then
that's the 4. You got them all.
That's the 4, yeah.
So let us know what you want to see: the Prodigy drivers, MVP/Action drivers, Full Turn, or West Side. Yeah, that's the other one. And somebody who votes is going to win the Bryce. We're going to do a quick breakdown of what we thought of each of these discs again. So, bottom line on the Bryce, what do you think?
I think this disc is great. I think it's a great starter to middle ground power, arm power.
Yeah.
I think it's really understable.
Really understable.
And it's good for someone who needs some help with distance. I think this, you use your tools. This is the tool. Use your tools to get you farther, to get you more accurate.
Yeah. And the numbers on it is 9.6, -1.2. I think that's a straight up wrong. Like, latitudes are generally more understable than what they say. This one's I don't think it's anywhere close. I think it's 9.4, -1, 9.6, -4, maybe 2 at most.
Because the Falcon, did you throw the Falcon?
It's pretty close to the Falcon, I'll say that, yeah.
I would say I got a similar flight to my Falcon.
Which has the same numbers, which I again think are wrong.
It has the same numbers, but this one is definitely not just a negative.
I threw it expecting my escape, and I did not get an escape, I'll say that. Which also has the same numbers. But it's a great, again, I think it's, if you're looking, if I bagged this, it would be a utility turnover driver for me or for a roller. But it's going to be a great beginner disc. Steve, run us by the numbers on the Gobi again.
Gobi, you got a speed of 5, you got a glide of 5. You got a turn of -1.5 and a fade of 1. So you've got decent speed, decent glide, some nice high-speed turn, and just a nice consistent fade. And that's exactly what this is.
Yeah, this I think they got spot on.
Spot on.
And it's so much glide. I think that glide, the only thing I think is wrong is the glide. I think it should be like an 8. Like that it goes forever. I was throwing it just as far as the Bryce, and I like this disc a lot. Super glidey, super controllable. You should check out a Gobi for sure. And then the Sarek.
Sarek, speed of 2, glide of 4. We got a 0 high-speed turn and a 1.5 fade. This is a stable putter. You put a lot of power on it and it's still going to fight out, or it's going to hold that line the whole way. I think this has ridiculous glide. I think my farthest was at least 250 with this disc, and this disc has gotten me started throwing putters, to be honest. I've been saying, Nate, I really got to learn how to throw my putters because
I just tell them to throw your mid-ranges.
the putter is just, it's going to show you what you're doing once you let it go. It's going to tell you if you threw the disc right, and then once you do it right, you're like, wow, I'm so happy that I was able to throw it that well. I'm parking holes at our course that needed a putter shot, and I've been like toning down on a mid-range instead of just punching a putter. And now I'm saving strokes. It's awesome. This disc is saving me strokes, as well as the Gobi.
All right, so TJ voted for MVP and Axiom, and he wants to know about the pilot. He also says we should do the pilot and the trace. If you go back to episode 9, we did the pilot and the trace. Check that out. We like those discs a lot too.
Oh yeah.
They're sweet. We got a sweet special edition Trace of Spades stamp. You should check out on the website as well. They're money.
It's super cool. Super cool.
All right, the Bryce winner for the votes. We got a lot of full turn votes, which I'm excited to see. I like those discs a lot. I've got them in the bag.
I got one.
Great. Kevin Mashuda says full turn, rough to mow, and I'm from Missouri, so we're gonna go with Kevin
at its
Mashuda
best.
for the Bryce. Yep, I got to pick. I got to pick somehow. So Kevin, I think it's Mashuda, however you say that. You win the Bryce, and we'll get that to you. Anybody won, hit us up either on Facebook or at service@disstore.com. So we're going to go out and we're going to throw, and we'll figure out what we're doing the review on next week. But Wednesdays at 5, check us out. Again, check out discmember.com. Steve, you got anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Again, yeah. We're doing this for you guys, so we really appreciate leaving comments, asking questions. You guys are awesome. We look forward to the next week, and thank you again for watching.